probably seen on Netflix Race for the Crown. So you won the Kentucky Derby in 2008.
Yes.
What would you say the percentage of like luck versus like choosing the right horse and like...
Oh, choosing the right horse is first. If you don't have a horse, you have nothing.
Okay.
So you can have the best
So
jockey.
the horse you would say is like what percentage?
99%.
Oh, wow.
And I was investing like maybe 300,000 in a horse, 500,000 in a horse, never more than like 500,000.
Right.
So I said the next one, I'm maybe if I find, I'm gonna put $1 million down. It's Labor Day weekend, 2007. I had just won the Breeders' Cup, and I'm gonna spend $1 million on the right horse. I'm at a friend's house. They're having a pool party, and I have a migraine headache. And I'm like, I have to go inside. I have to sit down. Like, I need to sit on the couch. So he puts me on the couch, turns the TV on, and his wife comes in. She's like, "You want something to watch?" I'm like, "Yeah, just throw the races on, you know." So we put races on. They're running at Saratoga. I see a horse win, and I'm like, "Wow, who is this?" And I call my bloodstock agent. I'm like, "Nick, you got to go buy this horse. Like, you need to buy this horse." So he calls the guy up, doesn't answer his call. Next day he calls him back. Guy answers. He says, "Yeah, I've already had an offer on the horse for $4 million." Now remember, I'm thinking $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So I said, ask him who's buying it. So he says, Sheikh Mohammed, who's the ruler of Dubai. Again, FU money. Monopoly
Yeah,
money,
for
right?
sure.
Can't outbid these guys.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit. And I'm like, I would have probably spent the $4 million. Like, even though it's way more, I feel like I would have done that, So I was bummed because I hadn't seen a horse run like this in years. Like I was blown away. And I don't get blown away, I was blown away.
Yeah.
So anyway, next morning I wake up and I'm like, I have an idea.
You're listening to the X Podcast. The X you keep coming back to.
Hey guys, welcome back to the X Podcast. It's your host Alessia every single Monday. I'm so excited about this episode because you've probably seen on Netflix Race for the Crown. It's a horse racing document series. We have mutual friends. That's how I actually heard of Jules and Michael.
I wish there was another way you've heard of us besides through a mutual friend.
No, why? They're like,
just on Netflix.
Okay, but fair. But I heard about you guys before the Netflix show was out.
Okay, that's true. All right, safe.
Right? Safe? Okay. I think Veronica met you guys through Chelsea, and then you guys met Tanya. So it's all full circle.
I love my Canadian friends.
The best.
It's gotten so good with our Montreal friends that we go see the Panthers play the Canadians. I'm a little bit twisted. In the end, I'm still cheering for the Panthers, but any other team but the Panthers, I'd be a Canadians fan.
Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Okay,
originally,
nice.
yes.
Okay.
I'm from New York. Literally.
I could tell by your accent.
I have an accent still.
You have a little bit of an accent.
I was hoping I'd have a Floridian accent. But I can get the New York accent when I feel like it. You know what I mean? I can turn it up.
Question, New York or Miami?
Miami. By 55 lengths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is it since you live here?
So we bought a place down here in 21 right after COVID.
Okay.
And we were going to do this snowbird thing because Jules, she lived in Texas, so she never got a full...
I am a snowbird. I love the cold.
Yeah.
Like, send me to Montreal. I thrive. In the winter.
For
the
me,
cold
I
is
live on
nice
Mercury.
for 2 weeks, and then
No.
it's like, come on.
No.
Amen.
Like
No.
Christmas, I love to see snow falling.
100%.
Leave after that.
Me, I would put Christmas lights on a palm tree if given the option. I do not like anything to do with cold. And she
Doesn't like anything to do with hot.
thrives like in negative 400. And it's like anything lower than 60, I start wilting now. Literally.
So you won the Kentucky Derby in 2008.
Yes.
And before we get really into that, I want to talk about how you guys met.
Sure. 2008, we win the Derby.
Okay?
I become, I guess, a celebrity at that time.
Okay.
In my own mind, maybe, but maybe in reality.
I mean,
right?
Definitely. It's a big deal.
I guess only 150 people have ever done it, so I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was just finishing up college, and she was working in a hat store that sells hats for the Kentucky Derby. So my ex at the time, well, my wife at the time, was buying a hat from her, and she said, "Hey, come look at the hat." And that was not good. That was almost as bad as Tom Brady asking Giselle to go to jiu-jitsu class.
Oh my God.
That's how bad it was, right?
Oh my God.
So unfortunately,
That's a woman's worst fear.
Unfortunately, I look up and I was like, oh shit. Like, I knew right there that this was not going to end well. But I played it cool. And I kind of just, massaged the situation gently. And
were you guys like on rocky terms, like ending at that time?
Yeah,
or?
my marriage struggled.
Okay.
And it struggled for many reasons. And kids always are the best thing in the world, but sometimes they can change the dynamic of your marriage.
I can't imagine, yeah.
And I learned a lot through it. And then I learned that anybody can be a great husband and anybody can be a great wife. They just need a great partner, right? And I didn't have a great partner, and I wasn't a great partner. So from a marriage standpoint, we struggled. And it was at the very end, and she was at the very end of a relationship as well. And all those relationships had to play their course, which they did. And we migrated back together, and we found each other again.
Wow.
And we had a little bit of a fairy tale story.
Wow. What was your thoughts when you first met Michael?
He's married.
Okay, well,
Honestly, that wasn't it.
You weren't thinking like, oh,
No.
Okay.
She was thinking really sexy, dude.
Well, obviously
okay,
this.
good.
But honey.
And then you went back to the hat store? Like how?
Oh, this part's good.
Okay, so full disclosure. I went back to the hat store a week later because I had another horse running there, and the wife and kids were back in New York.
You went to see Jules, let's be honest.
You could probably say that, but I did have a horse running, so I had a 1% reason to be there besides the 99% rule. So I went back, and it was the Bluegrass Stakes, which is a very big prep for the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
And I had a horse running in the race, and I go back alone, and I take a hotel room at the hotel that she's selling hats. And I come down the elevator moves up, the ex calls me. I pick up the phone, and it's the ex. And just as I pick up the phone, who walks by me? Jules.
Oh my God.
So I can't say anything. So I give her like a wave. And she pretty much gave me like a, hey, like a hey.
See ya.
Hey. Hey. Right? So that didn't go well. So now I'm thinking that's not exactly what I was expecting. So I went course B. And at the time, I mean, not only did we win the Derby the year before, but I had the favorite for the Derby in 2009 as well. So I was on TV every day, mainstream.
Yeah.
So I said, let me try this move. So Jules had walked out of the store. I walked into the store. I saw the manager there, the owner, who I don't know. But I figured if you sell hats for the Kentucky Derby, you clearly are in the know of what's happening in horse racing.
Right.
So I said, well, let me take a shot here. And I said, I just wanted to let you guys know that I've been admiring your business from afar. And that
Oh my God.
the one thing I noticed is your staff is so hardworking. I'm like, it's amazing. I said, but tomorrow is the biggest race in all of Kentucky besides the Kentucky Derby. And you guys can be working? I'm like, I got a better idea.
A businessman
Yeah.
at heart.
I said, I got a way better idea. She goes, what? I said, I think you should shut down the store. I think you should dress up all the girls, and take all the families and everything, and just come to the racetrack and let me put you up in my suite. And I'll do limos and everything, and it'll be the best experience ever. She's like, are you kidding? I'm like, no, of course not. Now, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like 4 people.
You're like, Jules needs to be
Of course.
in that list of 4
He
people.
literally invited every employee, their family, their kids.
Well, I did not want to come off like a creep and be like, just bring Jules.
Right.
No, I had to try to umbrella the situation to try to massage and camouflage.
Yeah.
So, of course, I said, okay, so then just tell the girl with the blonde hair just to take the tally and just ring me up and let me know what it is. I'll give her my cell phone number. She's like, okay. So I leave. Now, she walks into the store and she can tell you her version of what happened when she walked in.
When I walked into the store.
Yeah.
Oh, she's like, oh my God, Michael Iavarone, he just invited us to the races and all the employees and our families and everything. She's like freaking out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, it's like tomorrow we have to go. And it's in 2 days actually. I need a count. And I'm like, okay. So I called my boyfriend to see if he wants to come. I'm like,
I'm dead.
I have no idea there's a boyfriend in the game, right? I would have probably not invited the whole office if I knew the boyfriend was in the game. But then again, I was still, I'm low-key married. But
well, I was at the end of my relationship trying to get out of that relationship.
Okay.
But in order to do that, I'd get the job, save up the money.
Yeah.
He was a snowbird in Miami at the time, so every weekend I would fly to Miami. So it was my weekend to fly to Miami, so I either had to invite him up or say, I'm working.
Right.
He declined, so he didn't come, so that was
perfect.
fate. But then I said, okay, I'm going to work, because again, my plan is, save up, leave the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Before I know of anything else in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, okay.
How old are you at the time?
24.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, and what had happened is I moved in with this guy. It was like a 4-year relationship. I lost my independence. I come from absolutely nothing. Can't even ask like my mom for a dollar.
Okay.
So instead of like, playing victim, oh, poor me, I'm like, no, I make a plan and I'm going to get this job and I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
So I was in that phase and I'd been at this job like 1 week.
Okay.
And I don't know anybody which plays into the story. I'm just thinking that, okay, I'm going to wear the best hat, I'm going to go to the suites, I'm going to go to this race, and all the people who are going to the Derby will see my hats, I'll give them my card, they'll come buy hats, I get commission. So I'm just thinking business.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to bring her to the track, she's going to have the best time ever, she's going to fall in love, we're going to get in the jet, we're going to fly off to Vegas, we're going to get married, and we'll win the Derby next year. And then I would not have had to do what I'm doing now. Life could have been so much easier. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was really just a stupid kid back then.
So on the show, you had said you have to win again.
Yes.
Now that you're with Jules, and I totally get that because it doesn't count before you guys were together.
So I can't tell you how electric. Now I've done a lot of things in my life. I've been everywhere. I've done so many things. And when we won the race, they interviewed me on NBC, and they said, "How does this feel?" And I didn't even think, the words just came out of my mouth. And I said, aside from the birth of my children, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Aww.
Right? Now I would say besides Jules and the children. But
yeah.
And the experience was so insane. And the pressure of trying to achieve something that's historic was so insane.
But wait, let's backtrack though. How did you even get into horse racing?
Oh, my father was a degenerate gambler.
Okay.
Like, degenerate. So I was going to the racetrack with him at like 14. And
he was betting on horses.
And he was betting on horses. Never owned him. I grew up with nothing.
Okay.
Like, I was, as I said in the show, I had the swoosh that was like, you had to stick on the Nikes, You had to Velcro the swoosh on. Okay. They were like $2 sneakers with a Velcro Nike swoosh.
Now it's like custom if you get that, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different vibe now. So anyway, he only gambled on him. So I went to the racetrack with him. I was obsessed the first time I went. So much that I was skipping out of school every Tuesday because they would have racing on a Tuesday afternoon. And I would not have the money to pay admission. I would jump over the fence on the back side and walk all the way 1.5 miles around to get to the grandstand.
Wow, that's crazy.
To bet my $4 over like 4 races.
Let's say you bet $4. Back then, what were you winning on $4? If
Nothing.
you...
Zero. Because when
like,
you got $4 in your
odds?
pocket, you're going to bet every long shot in the world and hope you hit the lottery, right? You're never going to hit anything. And I certainly did not know what the hell I was doing. I just knew that if I could bet on it and watch it, it was amazing.
Right.
It was like, it was the 15-year-old degenerate, right?
Yeah.
Skipping out of school.
Right.
With a 24-year-old girlfriend at the time. True story. So, who thought I was 21. But that's okay. So anyway, that was my introduction to the game. With at no point did I ever imagine actually owning racehorses because I understand what it costs to own a racehorse. So
right.
I started in the brokerage business when I was 22, and that was I played baseball. I signed with the Seattle Mariners. I had a pretty large signing contract.
Oh wow!
And I had money. I pissed it away on girls and shoes. Like the song,
Classic.
I still spend shoes. Yeah. Girls' shoes now. Not for me. Ex-Chelsea. So, anyway, never thinking, knowing the barrier of entry was ridiculous. And then I made some money, bought a horse for $20,000,
Okay.
It was terrible.
How old were you at the time? Like, when was this?
I was 22.
Okay, you're 22.
And you cannot ask me what year that was because then everybody's going to do the math.
No. No, I just want to know, like, when you were like, I'm buying a horse.
22.
Okay.
Yeah.
22 years
22.
old.
22, money in the bank, not rich by any means. Money in the bank, probably more than most 22-year-olds, but probably a lot less than most 23-year-olds.
Okay.
Right? So, buy a horse, all excited, bring the family, tell the family this is the greatest thing. My father comes to the racetrack, my parents at the track, my friends, my 24-year-old girlfriend, who's now 34. And we go to the race, and my friend Butch, who I went to college with, came, and he did the race call the best. And the horse's name was Toddler.
Okay.
Now, it's my first horse I ever run. You think the horse is going to win. I don't know that the horse is completely overmatched, right? I spent 20 grand, not knowing everybody else spent like 200,000.
Right.
So the trainer says, I'm going to send the horse to the lead early in the race, and then hopefully we can just wire to wire, go start in the front, finish in the front. Sounds great.
But when you got the horse, like, is there, like, is it like how do you choose which to go with? Were you just like 20,000 is my budget and that was the cheapest horse?
Oh no, it was like if there was a horse for sale for 20,000, it would be like throw a dart, and I'd be like, give me that one.
Okay,
like,
okay.
I knew nothing. Like,
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
I was a complete moron in the horse racing game at the time. So the horse's name was Toddler. He goes to the lead, and he's leading with like a half a mile to go, and I'm going crazy, and he's going crazy, and then they come to the top of the stretch, and it's like he ran into a wall, and just stops. And finishes dead last, beating like 50 lengths, right? So my friend does the call, and he's like, and Toddler's leading, and he goes, and down goes Toddler, down goes Toddler, like Joe Frazier in the Muhammad Ali fight, you know? I was like, shut the, like, that's not the way I bring my friends around, you know? Not nice. So I'm standing at the finish line, my horse is like being dragged by the outrider. And I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. So then I decide, all right, maybe I need to put a little more money in. I buy a horse for 50,000. He's just as bad.
What happens with $20,000 horse? You just give it back? Like, how does that work?
It became a nice pet for someone.
Okay,
like
got
a
it.
super nice pet.
Okay,
and one
got
thing
it.
about us and horse racing, which is really super important, and it's the thing that is become a really important topic in horse racing, is their aftercare. And we donate a lot to aftercare and make sure that these horses aren't sent to slaughter,
Okay.
that they have a life after they race, even the
Amazing.
bad ones, and that is like super important because they give so much. Even the horses that aren't great, they give everything they got. But it's like if I played basketball against Marvin, you know, it's like, you know, he's 7 feet taller than me, you know, he's gonna dunk in my face, and,
Right.
But at the end of the day, I deserve a life too.
Yes.
And with racehorses, it's the same thing. Like, they deserve that life after racing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I go 50,000, terrible. Now I'm like into 100,000, terrible. And I'm making now real money. You know, I'm.
But not through horse racing.
No, I'm getting my ass kicked.
Okay,
horses.
okay.
So I'm getting all.
This is like a
write-offs.
fun bit on the side.
This is like I'm determined to figure this out.
Right. Okay.
This is like when we went to Atlantic
It's a passion.
City. This is my personality. We go to Atlantic City. I play blackjack. No, we go to Atlantic City. I said I gotta gamble $5,000. We get there. The room's not ready. I said to Jules, I said, let's go and play some blackjack while we're waiting. She's like, okay. I sit down. There's this little Chinese dealer who's about 2 feet tall, and he's beating my ass every hand and like snarling at me. Like, he was so happy I was getting my ass kicked, and I wouldn't leave. And I just lose. And the more I lose, the angrier I get.
Right.
So anyway, I think he got me for 4,000 before we even checked into the room. So then Jules says, give me the 1,000. I'm going to go play a horse race, and I'm going to win it back. I'm like, okay.
Your lucky charm.
I'm like, okay, Jules.
I'm actually the superfecta queen. It's where you have to pick all 4 horses in first, second, third, fourth order.
Okay. You got all 4?
She
Yes.
nails all 4. We get 6,000 now. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Give me the money.
You're like, I'm winning though.
No,
Why am I giving?
Give me the money. She gives me the money. I go right back to this son of a bitch.
You're like, I'm not leaving
I'm
until
like,
this guy
I
loses.
got him now. There's the law of averages are on my side.
No.
5,000. Boom.
Gone.
Now he's got me.
No, I think you had like
Yeah.
500 left, 4,500.
Yeah.
Now we're
So now
back
back down to 500 again, right?
You gave her the rest of the money.
She took the 500. What does she do? She goes back and she hits another superfecta,
Superfecta.
gets all the money back again.
Yeah.
I go looking for this guy. He's gone now.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So this is his
So
personality.
yeah,
what you're saying.
so my personality is try till you succeed, and if you don't succeed, keep trying until you fail.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's kind of where it's
At some point, you can only trip so many times before you win.
He always says, stay the course.
Yeah, you're
Stay
either
the
going to
course.
completely fail or you're going to really make it work, right? So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do this until I fail.
Do you
Because-
think horse racing and like gambling at a casino would be like one-on-one the same?
Back then, I thought they were exactly the same and I treated them the same because I didn't know, right?
Okay.
So now I'm probably down overall $1 million in horse racing, right?
Crazy.
But I'm making real money, so it's not really hurting me. But I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn. But every time I lose, I learn. The one thing about my mind, I'm a great math mind, and I store data, and I figure that out. Like inevitably, it starts to take shape.
We love that. We love
Yeah.
that.
6 years later, it started to take shape. 6 years, right? So I had probably invested at this point maybe $3-4 million in horses.
But like, what are you my question is like, what are you learning in this time? Like, the horse
Yeah.
doesn't work. What are you looking for in the
You're-
next horse?
Yeah, you're learning.
Besides spending more money.
Right. So you're learning pedigree. You're learning, and when I mean pedigree, you're learning hereditary family. Like
Okay.
their ancestors and
The
how
lineage,
they
like, do they
fit.
run better
So-
on dirt? How do they, their distance?
And then you're learning what horses are good on what surfaces. Like, are they grass horses? Are they dirt horses? Are they turf horses? Are they synthetic
Okay.
horses? And you're learning a little bit, but then you're starting to do the math side, and you're starting to compare and contrast times and how horses finish races and compared to how they start races. And a lot of stuff is starting to make sense to me, and I'm like, there's a lot of math in this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of math. And I started taking a lot of data from a lot of different sources that specialize in horse race speed figures. And it started to kind of make sense to me. So then in 2007, which was six or 7 years after I started this fiasco, I bought a horse that won the Breeders' Cup, which is like a very prestigious event in horse racing. It's
Okay.
not the Derby. The
Okay.
Derby is the most prestigious horse race in the world, where the Breeders' Cup is a world championship race,
Okay.
but it's not as widely known to the general public as
As the Derby.
the Breeders' Cup. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the Derby, I'm sorry. So, anyway, I won that, and it set me on a path. So that horse...
How much did you win then?
Okay, so the purse on that race was $5 million.
Okay.
And the value of the horse was maybe like $7 or $8 million from winning that race. So I had gotten back everything I lost in one day.
Okay.
Effectively, right? And what I decided to do was roll that and say, I'm now going to play it at a different level. And I'm going to find the special horse, and I'm going to really make an investment. And I was investing like maybe $300,000 on a horse, $500,000 on a horse, never more than like $500,000.
Right.
So I said, the next one, if I find, I'm going to put $1 million down, right? Because now I'm doing well, I'm understanding it.
Do you know more or less what other people are paying for their horses?
So
I'd say yes.
the answer to that is that a lot of owners in this game could pay whatever they want. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
But it's kind of like this. I think this is a good way to put it. Like, let's just say you're going to go get your nails done, right? You know how much your nails cost, right?
Yeah.
But there's, different levels to it.
Right.
So you got the roundabout, but you just kind of know. So it's kind of the same thing like in horse racing.
Okay.
Like, you know what the base cost is, but you know what the better ones are.
Right,
And you know
right.
you know what they can go
But
to.
then when you get to
Right.
the superstars, it's
Yeah.
monopoly money. It really is, because you're competing, like as you saw on the show. Mike
interesting.
Rapoli actually is a friend of mine. He founded Vitamin Water. He sold it for $5 billion. He founded Body Armor, offered us a chance to invest in it. Jules said it was not going to be great, so we didn't invest in it.
I love how he just threw that.
And he only sold that for
She
$8
made
billion.
you money when you lost money at the
Yep, yeah,
casino.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
you dare throw her under the
He
bus.
made me $4,000, cost me $5.2 billion. So the numbers are not numbering right. So anyway, look, he's got monopoly money. When you're worth $15 billion, it's monopoly money. There's no.
He's like, give me whatever horse that's the best
Right.
horse.
So
And
if you pay $400,000, $500,000, $4 million, $6 million, $8 million, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, it's not going to change his diet, his day, nothing. So you have to not only be good at finding them, but you have to be a sniper. You have to be super fast in getting the deal done. You have to make sure that these people aren't engaging the same seller. Or this, it's it's got to be quick. So if you see something you
Okay.
like, you got to make that call
It's
instantly.
kind of like an auction almost.
A silent auction,
Okay.
right? You got to make that
Jesus.
call.
But
you don't want the other
would you
person
say
to
that
know.
this way of buying is morphed into this? Like when you bought Big Brown and what you're saying when you went to your first, it wasn't quite like this.
There's two ways to buy horses.
This is when you
can
started.
buy them at
your-
auction.
Yeah.
As 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, you can buy them at auction.
What's
right?
the best age?
The best age to buy them for me is after they've raced already. So that would be 2-year-old and up.
Okay.
So you can buy yearlings, which are 1 year old, cheaper than you can buy 2 year olds, cheaper than you can buy 3 year olds, right?
Okay.
Because as they start to race, you can see their talents. You can
Okay.
measure them. But you can buy all sorts at auction, so you're bidding against other people. Or you can do what I do. So you own a horse, he wins a race. I love your horse, right? He's not for sale. I call you up and I'll say, your horse is super talented. I'd love to buy your horse. Well, what are you offering me? What do you want? Well, I want $1 million. I think that's a lot. I'll offer you $750. No, thank you. I'll stay on the course. He'll hang up. I'll call him back. I'll say, okay, let's do the deal, right? So I buy them like that. I don't go to the auctions. I don't bid against
But
other
that's
people.
now. I think you should go back to how you.
I always bought them. That's how I always.
Oh, even with IEH?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's Labor Day weekend, 2007. I had just won the Breeders' Cup, and I'm gonna spend $1 million on the right horse. I'm at a friend's house. They're having a pool party, and I have a migraine headache, and I'm like, I have to go inside. I have to sit down. Like, I need to sit on the couch. So he puts me on the couch, turns the TV on, and his wife comes in. She's like, "You want something to watch?" I'm like, "Yeah, just throw the races on, So we put races on. They're running at Saratoga. I see a horse win, and I'm like, "Wow, who is this?" And I call my bloodstock agent. I'm like, "Nick, you got to go buy this horse for me. Like, you need to buy this horse for me." So he calls the guy up, doesn't answer his call. Next day, calls him back. Guy answers. He says, "Yeah, I've already had an offer on the horse for $4 million." Now remember, I'm thinking $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So I said, "Ask him who's buying it." So he says, Sheikh Mohammed, who's the ruler of Dubai. Again, FU money. Monopoly
Yeah,
money,
for
right?
sure.
You can't outbid these guys.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit. And I'm like, I would have probably spent the $4 million. Like, even though it's way more, I feel like I would have done that, So I was bummed because I hadn't seen a horse run like this in years. Like, I was blown away. And I don't get blown away. I was blown away.
Yeah.
So anyway, next morning I wake up and I'm like, I have an idea. I'm like, I know Sheikh Mohammed will only buy 100% of the horse. He won't take in a partner. So he said, why don't you call him up and say, let's play it like this. Let's offer him the same $4 million valuation. So we'll give him $3 million for 75% of the horse, and he stays in on 25% with me. And if we should win the Derby or win something huge, the horse is going to be worth $50 million or more. He's going to make way more that way.
Right.
And I said, plus we'll keep the horse here in America because I knew Sheikh Mohammed was going to take the horse to Dubai.
Genius.
So he calls up, he goes, I haven't signed the contract yet, I have it here. I was like, don't do it. Do the deal with the Americans. Americans, And he says, give me till 5. And I'm like sitting there pins and needles all day.
Oh, I can imagine.
6 o'clock he called me. And he's like, let's do it.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
And this was Big Brown?
This was Big Brown.
Wow.
So anyway, we did the deal in September. He ran for the first time together with us in March of the following year, which is his 3-year-old year. He won there. He won the Florida Derby in April, which made him eligible for the Kentucky Derby. He won the Kentucky Derby in his next start, so he was undefeated, Kentucky Derby winner. Nobody had ever been close to him. Like, he was winning every race by 5 lengths, 10 lengths.
Wow.
Anyway, we sold the horse when it was all said and done. We sold his breeding rights after he retired for a net $84 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane. And what was crazy is that was a learning curve, and then from those 2 years, I was winning everything. Like, I was just dominating horse racing.
And what's the prep like for horse racing? Like, can they get tired out if if they're running too much? Because I thought I read something on that.
They can. So in the old days, they used to run horses every 2 weeks. Now they run them every 4 weeks, sometimes longer, right? Except now you have the Triple Crown. So what happens is
Right.
horses now run in the Kentucky Derby,
And then 2 weeks later,
and then
right?
2 weeks are in the Preakness.
And then
This
3
year-
weeks is the third one.
Exactly. Well done. This year is crazy because the Kentucky Derby winner is not running in the Preakness this Saturday. And that is incredibly unusual, and that is this new wave of giving horses more space and time in between races to recover. And I'm not a believer in that. Big Brown did it. Like he won the Preakness after winning the Kentucky Derby. He won the Preakness by like 9 months. He went on after. I mean, he ran 5 times in 4 months.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
He was running a lot, and he was just really, really successful. And so anyway, what did that do? That energized me, because when you win that race, I was doing every TV show. I was on the Regis. And
I
Kelly
can't
show,
imagine
like,
the feeling though.
It was-
Winning, you feel like unstoppable. You're like 150 people in the world win,
Yeah.
and like I'm one. Like
went from a
bitch,
regular
don't
guy-
talk to me.
Yeah. I mean, I went from a regular guy, and now here I am. I'm doing autograph signings where there are 1,000 people in line. I have to sign, bobbleheads of Big Brown for hours and hours, and
Crazy.
and you're thrust into this crazy spotlight. But it all happens so fast, and then it's over, and your 15 minutes of fame are 15 minutes, and I am so desperate to have Jules and my girls who were young at the time, my kids, experience it now, because I too want to take it in.
Right.
Like, I didn't take it in because it happened
It happened so
with
fast.
my eyes closed. Now my eyes are wide open. But the show really showed how hard it is to get there.
Yeah.
And even Rapoli, with his $15 billion, didn't do it, right? So on the whole show, with all these people and all these trainers and all these jockeys, I was the only one that had experienced it. So
Crazy.
yeah, so we're going through it, and they're like, tell me. I'm like, I can't, because I need to do it again because I can't remember.
So it's a bit of like luck, would you say?
100%.
Would you say what would you say the percentage of like luck versus like choosing the right horse and like
Choosing the right horse is first. If you don't have the horse, you have nothing.
Okay.
So you can have the best
So
jockey.
the horse you would say is like what percentage?
99%.
Oh wow.
If you don't have the right horse, you have nothing, right?
Okay.
The horse is 99% of the game, right? The jockey represents a thumbnail, because jockeys are only as good. Jockeys can't make horses run faster. I could get on
Okay.
Marvin's back all day and he's still gonna run 1 mile an hour, right?
Right.
They just can't make a fast horse faster. They can avoid trouble, or they can give them a ground saving trip where they're not getting tired from being too wide. But if you don't have the engine, you don't have the race car.
This might be a stupid question. Then why are the jockeys even on the horse?
Well, the jockeys are on the horse
Because they need a direct.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
they're on for. I mean, you definitely don't
basically
want
just-
1,200-pound animals running wild. Yeah.
I basically just asked, why isn't the car running if I'm not driving?
There will be autonomous NASCAR at some point, right?
The Tesla version of a horse.
Yeah. Like, I always joke with the jockeys. I'm like, guys, you're 3 feet tall. I mean, I'm not going to say that you have small brains, but no, they risk their lives. Those guys.
Oh my
lay it on the
God.
line. They're amazing athletes, incredible athletes. Most of these guys weigh 115 pounds, and they harness a 1,200-pound animal that's aggressive. Thoroughbred horses are incredibly aggressive. They are not pets.
Oh my God. I can't imagine like you're on one and they're speeding and you have to like
Yeah.
almost get to like the wave of the horse
Yeah.
or you're cooked.
And these guys are 115 pounds, and they have to stay those weights, right? Because you don't want to. It represents about 10% of the horse, so
Right.
you don't want to start taxing the horse with weight. So the riders, their diet plans are horrendous.
And how much do the jockeys make?
They do well.
Do they make a cut of the...
Yeah, they do well. So
Okay.
So the way it works is, let's say the Kentucky Derby, for example, is a $5 million race.
Okay.
The jockeys get 10% of the winner's share. So what's the winner's share? The winner gets 60% of the purse.
Okay.
So they'll get 30 million. The jockey get 300,000.
Okay.
They do well. They make plenty of money. Their careers, surprisingly, are longer than you would think. A lot of riders ride into their 40s and 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And okay, so now you want to win again. And I guess obviously inflation, as life goes on, everything's more expensive. Like,
Yeah.
what is the most you would spend on a horse now?
There's no number. If I found the right horse, I would buy it.
That's nuts. Because
Just
in
like with women's
on
shoes.
the
I see
show,
the shoes.
yeah,
I
no,
would
that I
buy-
get.
If I'm gonna buy them, I'm gonna buy them.
On the show, what was the horse that you bought for $7 million?
So that was a misunderstanding. So the valuation of the horse was actually $7 million.
Oh, okay.
So we bought a percentage of that horse.
Okay.
So we bought into partnership.
Okay.
So net $700,000.
Okay.
Was our investment in that deal, right? So that is a horse that had supreme talent. Didn't have the how can I put it, the seasoning or the success that Big Brown had when I had purchased him, but he had the potential to somehow be in the mix with some of the better horses. But I was playing the future. I wasn't playing the now, right? I was saying to myself, he's really good. I don't know if he's great. We're gonna see. He's worth taking a shot for $700,000. I wouldn't have spent $7 million.
Okay.
And of course, he didn't get there.
And then, but he was taken care after, so
Right.
it's okay.
Yeah. So the horse always comes first, right? And they're gonna tell you, they make it blatantly clear to you if they're not there.
It's like your own pets, like if you have a cat or a dog and you know if they're off.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with horses. The trainers know instantly, like even if they're just like not, if they skip a meal or they they sense their energy literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, these exercise riders that get on these horses every day, they can tell you from day to day if there's been a change in the way in which they're pushing off and the way in which they're landing. The trainer's looking at the way he's eating. They're weighing these horses. They're taking blood to see if their blood levels, they have any bacteria in their bodies and things of that nature. So it's not cheap to take care of these horses. You have to spend the money if you want to be competitive.
They have world-class facilities.
They
They do
Crazy.
cryotherapy. They have treadmills and water workout. They have everything. Like
Crazy.
you want to come back as a thoroughbred.
Yeah, it's about $6,000 a month to take care of these horses.
And the audience, let's say I want to bet.
Yeah, you can bet a horse to show, which means if he comes in first, second, or third, you win. But the payoffs are very small. Right?
Okay.
So when we get you there, we're going for the real stuff. Right? So we're going to bet horses to win, and we're going to bet not only that, but we're going to say, okay, this horse is going to come first, and this horse is going to come second.
Exactly.
And those are exactas. She does first, second, third,
I play the hardest
fourth.
one.
I mean, yeah, because she's winning when she's at the
Kicking ass and taking names,
literally.
Right? Yeah.
It's actually really hard. It's for me, it's the biggest bang for your buck, because I play like a $1 superfecta. It's $24 to make that bet, but you can win a lot.
Right.
Like I think the biggest one I've hit is like $10,000.
The biggest misconception about
and you're
horse
not
racing,
putting in as much.
For $24.
For $24,
Yeah.
which is...
the biggest misconception is a lot of people that haven't been to the racetrack still believe that it's 80-year-old guys smoking cigars, blowing smoke in people's faces, betting $2. It's a party now. Like Gulfstream Park, they run the Pegasus there. All our Canadian friends come in for it.
What about like Beyonce, Jay-Z? Like, are they
California
seen?
Crown.
They're always
They
at
were
the
just
races.
there.
Beyonce and Jay-Z were at the race in California, the California Crown. At the Pegasus last year, you had Tom Brady, you had Alex
Maluma.
Earl. You
It's
had
become like an
Maluma.
event now.
It's
Yes.
a see and be seen vibe.
Yeah.
And we...
Is there
the
like
Pegasus-
security there? Can you talk to them? Like, what's the vibe at the events? Or are they like excluded
Okay,
in their
so-
own suite?
We're part of that
Yeah.
elite, right, at the racetrack. So we're in a private area with them. It is kind of shielded from the regular people.
Right.
That's
Well-
not the right. It's not a nice word. It's shielded from
I
the
get what
people
you're
that-
saying.
that aren't inside the rope.
Well,
Yeah.
for instance, at the Pegasus World Cup, it's Live, like the nightclub here.
Okay.
They sponsor it, and you have to buy tables the same way you would there.
Oh, wow.
And so, but the tables are not cheap in that area. But so it's the Carousel Club, and then like all the VIPs, all the celebrities, Maluma's next to Alex Earl, all these people, they're in the tables.
Black Coffee performed there.
Right.
They had a look. It's a real event, and it's a growing sport, especially for mainstream. And there's a new guy that's he's either a YouTuber or
The
a
Griffin.
kick guy,
Griffin.
Griffin Johnson.
Griffin Johnson.
Yeah, so he owns a piece of the Sandman who ran in the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
And he brought a lot of new eyes to the sport. The show obviously had a dramatic impact because this year's Kentucky Derby, despite the weather and it rained, this year's Kentucky Derby had the largest attendance, the largest handle, which is the amount of money bet, and the largest viewership in the history of the Kentucky Derby. this year.
It's no longer 80-year-old men smoking cigars and
No, now it's 21-year-olds smoking
now
weed.
it's I mean but also you're having Alex Earl there who
Yes.
has a big presence
Livy Dunn.
online.
Livy Dunn and I are DM each other. We're tight now because she's a big horse racing girl. And
Love that.
Yeah. So it's actually gone mainstream, and it's continuing to evolve, and shows like this done by producers like that on Netflix is only going to help. And if they continue the show, which we believe they will,
I'm sure.
and they will have further seasons, we will continue to push the envelope and move a little bit more into the gray than already we tried to be. A little bit more about our lives, a little bit more about the show at the racetrack, a little bit more about the party. And now that people have a generic understanding of horse racing where they did not have any, I think we can exploit other parts of the racing game.
For sure. Honestly, watching it was just so fascinating. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that we want that. We want to see that,
Yeah.
It's one thing to watch. I don't know how long the actual race is.
Yeah.
But it's
2 minutes. They call
it's 2 minutes, but
it the
it's
greatest 2
everything that
minutes in all
happens
sports.
before it.
Yeah, they call it the greatest 2 minutes in sports. And it's the only event where you can have a billionaire standing next to a regular person talking about the sport like it's their ultimate passion. And what you see is it's opened up, and X has been really interesting with horse racing. I'm not on it, but I watch other people that are. And Mike Rapoli from the show is on X.
He's the billionaire, right?
He's the billionaire.
Okay. He was who's that guy?
No.
Oh.
That was Jon Stewart. So Mike Rapoli and I are actually very good friends.
Okay.
I've known Mike forever. He actually offered us, as I said, Jules turned it down, to invest in body armor, which we would have made $5.2 billion.
No, I love
Instead,
how
we
he
made
blames
nothing.
this on you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you didn't do it.
So $5.2 billion is not that much money. Love is more important. 5.3 billion might change everything, but 5.2 billion.
What's the biggest thing that you realized is different than you thought? Is it different being behind the scenes and filming and then seeing what actually goes out?
Yeah, for me, I run a tech fund, so I have to oversee $1 billion of investor money.
Yeah, doesn't that clash a little?
Wearing a purple suit,
You're
no shirt and a cross is not what I would
Not
call
ideal.
typical fund manager attire. So of course, when you turn on Netflix and your purple suit is blasted on the home screen for the whole world to see, you start to think are they gonna see that? And of course, everybody did.
Yeah.
And everybody started saying, wow, why didn't you tell me? This is amazing. This is the great. And I'm like, next time.
Yeah.
But it is surreal. And Jules probably got it more than I did from her friends just taking pictures of their home screens on Netflix, of us on the cover of Netflix. That is surreal.
Okay, so on the show, they were kind of giving a tour of your crib.
Yeah.
And I saw you guys had the tanning machine. We need to talk about all this. This is iconic.
Yeah, the tanning bed's crazy.
This is so what was have you always been a tanning freak?
I'm Italian from New York.
I mean,
You get sun one day every 6 months in New York.
but you've been in Miami for some time.
I mean,
It's easier. It's quicker.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I've spent probably half the time tanning as I have sleeping.
To that point.
Well, that's...
You're not worried about skin cancer or anything.
No.
Well, you always worry about skin cancer, but I've been checked thoroughly.
I make him go to the
And
dermatologist
all
all
is
the
good.
time.
All is good. I sleep in the tanning bed.
But people who come over must be I'm sorry, I'm going in for 10 minutes.
We put Chelsea
Yes.
in there one day. She came out as sawdust.
I could imagine.
Yeah, she came out as sawdust. It's a commercial bed in a residential house,
It's
right?
honestly
So
iconic.
The lights are made for thousands and thousands of hours, so they're so strong because I'm not in there. I probably tan. I'm a big regular sun guy.
Okay.
So the tanning bed is fun and everything, but I spend more time in the sun.
Okay, so that's
I live in
healthier.
Miami now.
Yeah.
In New York, it was a shit show, so I was always in the tanning bed. Here, I get real sun, so I get all my vitamin D from there.
Okay.
But the tanning bed is a commercial bed, and I had to bribe the guy to put it in because it's really not even allowed in the house. So now the tanning bed police are going to come and steal it from me, but it's not even supposed to be there.
I know, when it was on the show, now they can just come.
The whole world knows. Yeah. And as I said, it's gotten more publicity than me The only thing is we have a private, security gate, so I'd be like, the tanning bed police, tell them we're not here. So, I mean, look, it's crazy. Yeah, a tanning bed is there are many facets of the house that I love, but the tanning bed is the best conversation piece.
You guys are like the most iconic duo. Like I'm obsessed with you guys.
Yeah.
Can you guys give like any because my show is normally based on like relationship advice.
Yeah.
And like everyone has their kind of secret sauce.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to know like what is your like what's like any relationship advice you can give to anyone who's listening who, is single or is dating and like finding it really hard? Like what advice can we give? I feel like
find the perfect person.
Okay, how do you find Mr. Brown?
Find the perfect person. Everything else is easy, right? We've been together 16 years. We've had one fight, and that's a true story.
Yeah.
One fight in 16 years, and only because she tried to drive drunk one day at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That
for
sounds
whatever
really bad.
reason.
No.
There's a whole backstory,
and then she
guys.
came up and threw up all over my bed when I got mad. I'm not drunk.
I've said that too many times.
That's the only fight we've ever had. We
So
don't,
I would say that to that, the secret sauce for me is communication. And I don't know if it's just Michael and I are both really good at it, but everything just has to be communicated, discussed, talked. Nothing has to be a
like
fight. But if you feel, and I always tell people this, I believe that, the world is a mirror, we reflect people, right? And Michael and I reflect each other so well that he reflects back to me all the things that can grow in me and that I can help, and I feel like I do the same. And then together, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like magic. And gosh, what he's helped me in my growth and everything, and just being able to discuss anything. If you just discuss and talk about things, like what is there to argue about? What is there not to enjoy and love and grow? And for me, it's just communication. And a lot of people, I feel, again, maybe this is just it's a natural thing to us. We both communicate, but a lot of people, they hold things in, or they say something they don't want to say. They walk in eggshells. They do this. They don't speak their truth. And if you can't do that in a relationship, like how is that going to grow and go forward? Yeah. And ultimately, I think, would you say that's
a
part of it?
Would you say from like your last relationship to?
Well, that's not even.
Like, were you communicate? Like, did you learn that being with Michael, or like was that just like a toxic relationship?
I was just a kid at that time.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old. I met Michael at 24.
Okay.
And even the person that I am today from when I met Michael are like
two different people.
Yeah. When I even first started with Michael, when I first met Michael, I still had those insecurities that people have, like girls get, I was just like what the norm, like what we go through.
Yeah, for sure.
Trust issues, what's happening,
100%.
all this stuff, right? But I always speak to people like, oh, how are you so confident? How are you have all these hot girls? Like, what is your friends and all this stuff? I'm like, it's Michael, honestly. Like when you have a partner that just lifts you up and you just know each other so well.
We have incredibly hot friends, and she literally thrives in that.
No, I love that everybody feels good about themselves.
She wants everybody to feel the best they feel about themselves. She wants everybody to have a good time, and we're like one big family. Us and our friends are amazing.
And I think that's what it is. It's like, let's lift each other up. Like, let's not come from that space and people are like, well, how did you get there? And I'm like, honestly, when I think back to it, it was Michael. Anytime I went through an insecure, like, there would be times when my ex would say to me, he's like, oh, you better bring your hot outfits. You have a lot of competition. Like, what does that do to a 20-year-old girl, right?
That's a shithead.
That's like, piece of shit.
Yeah.
That was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And, cheating, all these things. And then you come in and you bring that baggage.
And you also have to be aware of what really is important.
Well, yes.
Like, I see a lot of couples fight over things that are just so unimportant.
Like, choose your fucks wisely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
And we don't have these problems anyway, because we don't even have fights over little stuff, but I see people fight over the littlest things, and the little fight becomes this massive mountain, and then it just dredges up all the other problems they have in the relationship, and it gives them an excuse to talk about bigger items.
And at the end of the day, if you just communicated it from the beginning, it would be nothing to dredge up. Michael calls me, he says I'm like a heart monitor. And he says that I am exactly, always perfectly
yeah. Nothing bothers her. Like, it's...
And if anything,
she's always in a good mood.
If I take one breath, or even just with both of us, it's like, okay, what was that breath? So I'll even say to him, I go, what kind of breath was that? And then he'll either
I just breathed.
Yeah, but
you know each other so well now that
he'll just be like, oh, it's just a work thing. I gotta think, okay, tell me what happened on the work thing. Like, you took that breath for a reason. Let's talk about it.
Wow.
Or something like that. And then when you
beautiful,
you just don't allow a single, like Michael knows, there's not a single thing that flows through me. Like, everything flows because there's nothing stuck.
Right.
Nothing's withheld.
Yeah.
They were very taken back on the show especially the producers, because again, most relationships are imperfect,
Yeah.
right? And I would say we're in the very unusual category of,
So blessed.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like we really are as a couple. And the producer himself was like, he goes, I just have learned so much from you guys that I want to carry into my relationship. He goes, but my wife just doesn't open up to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She doesn't allow me and her to have fun away from our kids. And
Right.
And
in that case, when he's telling you that, would you say like the best idea is to like leave her and find someone who is more on his
No,
wavelength,
no.
or like communicate and try and
Communicate.
See,
Yeah.
in a
It's
situation where a
direct
guy is
communication.
married with young kids, it's a much more difficult. Now we have plenty of friends that are dating that have no attachments, and we will tell them like, this is not your person, and we're friends with both of them. We're like, this is not your person, and that's not your person, to each other,
Wow.
right? But when
I
you
love
have
that.
a situation
The
where you have
honesty.
a guy with young kids and they're in a rough marriage, that is not my role. Like I can't tell a guy, because
Mm-hmm.
when you get divorced and you have kids, there's a consequence to that, right?
Yeah.
And you're losing the time with their children. It's
Yeah.
not going to be the same, right? So that has to be a decision that's made within him,
Mm-hmm.
whether he wants to value his life more than, maybe the relationship with the children at this time.
Yeah.
And I went through that, right? And my kids at the time that I was divorced were young. They were, 10, 12 years old. And in my mind, I struggled with it. And I said, and to the ex's credit, she never
Yeah, she's an amazing human.
discredited Jules, never talked badly about Jules to the children, but she had not met Jules, but she respected that.
Amazing.
And finally, when it dawned on me, I said, no, I don't look at it as if I'm going to lose the children. I'm going to look at it as they're going to gain another influence in their life.
Right.
And that's exactly how it turned out. And Jules has really shaped their lives. And we just on a cruise with them over the past weekend.
It was the best.
And
We all have
they're
FOMO
adults
from our
now,
own
and,
Wow.
vacation.
and they, they're incredible. And Jules is a big part of that. And the ex even agrees.
But the ex,
And now everybody's friends.
she's
I love
so amazing. Like, and Michael never once said one bad word about her ever. He's
Wow.
like, what
No,
happened?
she was amazing.
Yeah.
Our
That's a
marriage
green
wasn't.
flag. Like,
Yeah.
She
was a great person. Our marriage
you could
wasn't.
not be forced someone and still have so much love for them,
Yeah.
and it's just not a match,
Yeah.
And having like things in common. Like Jules and I were together 24/7. We work together. We play together.
We do
But
everything together.
we go to sporting events together. We go to, yoga together. We go to shows together. Like there's a compromise. Like there are things that she likes more than me.
Yeah.
And there are things I like more than her.
But
But when
we
we go
love-
there, we like them the same.
Yes,
Yeah.
we love doing it with each other. Like you saw in this show, like I live at my little yoga studio, and all these, I have him with the shamans in Peru. Like if the
She
show
does some
only
crazy
knew
shit.
the things that I get him roped up in, but you know what? He's right there with me. He's doing it. He may not understand it,
It's crazy.
but it means
stuff.
a lot
Like,
to me. And I always said, just love that we do every single thing
Yeah.
together.
One interesting part of the show, I don't know if you recognized it, but we were the only real couple. Like, Frankie Dettori.
I
the
did
jockey-
notice that.
Yeah, Frankie Dettori, the jockey's wife, was in parts. Mike Rapoli's wife made one brief
few
appearance
cameos.
in the show. There was a reason for that. They also were filmed, but I think that the producers wanted to show our relationship to the world a little bit. And,
Yeah, for sure.
The ups and downs and the risks that you take and the money you spend to do this and what you're doing it for. And I thought that was a really cool element.
Yeah,
for
Michael
us.
and I are just such a team. Like in every single thing. This is a really funny thing. Like literally, I go get my hair done, and you're out. I'm a blonde. It takes like 5 hours.
100%.
Who's right outside the salon in the convertible with the sun down, with the top down, tanning while I'm getting my hair done?
Like,
like
It's a perfect spot to
it's
see
my
it.
Love
person,
it.
right? He gets his
Love
haircut.
it.
Who's right there?
Just drop the top and put the head back, and
Yeah.
you can spend 6 hours.
I
there.
love
Great.
it. Are,
Yeah.
are you guys both big manifestors?
Yes.
And what advice can you give to someone who like wants to manifest things into their lives?
Oh, I know. She's a manifestor, but I can
Talk
tell
to
you
me.
what
I love like anything manifestation. I'm like, talk to me.
So first of all, don't limit yourself. So a lot of people, they'll say, oh, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest that. But then they're like, oh, that doesn't seem realistic. Or, if I want to manifest this house, but I really want this one, but I don't think I could have that one. This one feels more safe.
Right.
Or this relationship or whatever it is. Okay, so people
100%.
limit themselves. That's one thing. 2, you should never manifest from a place of lack. So a lot of people, they wish for things, they want things, but if you are manifesting because you feel you're lacking something, that's a different thing. So it should always come from a place that I'm already whole, I already have everything, I am so grateful, but should this come, that would be even more amazing.
Right.
Third thing is every time you manifest, whatever it is, it already is. And they say that when you manifest or you feel something, it's because when
you get like shivers,
you already have that.
Yeah.
So if say there's a town, I think I saw this on Instagram, like if there's a town that you really feel drawn to or you see yourself there, it's because in your future you're already there.
Right.
And if you have a relationship that you see, you already own it. It already is yours.
Yeah.
So you just have to claim it and feel it. Like, what does that look like? Imagine when you like go to sleep at night, close your eyes, like, where are we going? What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
And so like I go hardcore with the manifestation.
Yeah. Were you always like this?
Yes, and I was really like this before it was even a word, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it was just because of my upbringing and just like knowing, and I'm a very spiritual person. I'm very connected to source, and it's like when you come from that place and you just know and have that ultimate faith, it's like I just know it's going to work out. So the way it started would be like, okay, like I was 20 something years old. I'm like, I'm going to own a restaurant. I'm going to go to Le Cordon Bleu. I'm going to do this. I come from nothing. Like, how's all this stuff happening? And I just, it'll happen.
It's like it's not for you to try and figure out how, but to just put it out there and know you're going to have it.
And I manifested him. I would always say I'm going to have that fairy tale, that perfect love, just everything. And I was just like, I know it will be. And it always was, and it always will be. And it just...
Yeah, because you're not trying to control it. You're like leaving it to the universe. Yeah.
And I'm completely the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
In your manifestation? Tell me.
I'm completely that. I start from the back and I move forward. So I say, what do I want? What do I really want? Right? And then I say, okay, so that's the goal. And then I chronologically figure out how I'm going to get there.
Okay.
But I don't put it in the hands of the universe.
Like you're gonna set a goal, but then you're gonna figure out all the steps in order to get there.
I'm gonna build my way to it.
So what if it's a perfect relationship or a relationship? Like, how do you say, okay, what are the steps that we tell?
Well, for me, I think a big part of our relationship is what I learned from my prior. I learned
she did the work.
I did the work. I manifested you.
But maybe you manifested me. But
I'm kidding.
for me to be what I am to you, I had to get there.
Amen.
And I learned so much from prior relationships. And look, I was a bad boy. I mean, before I was married, I was a bad boy. While I was married, I was a bad boy. I met Jules, and I was worried that, can I be a good boy?
Right.
And I've been perfect, as far as being a good boy, right? I mean, we have amazing fun.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to have fun without Jules, right?
I love that.
I'm a good boy in that world, right? So now I say I wasn't, part of my English, but I wasn't fucked up. I just didn't have the right relationship. Mm-hmm. And so I had to get myself there.
How?
Through experience, through learning, right? And now I understand why we work.
And I also think it's a part of the mirroring. Like, when we're together and we mirror each other, like, even if I start saying things or whatever, he'll mirror back to me, like, okay, no, Jules, this is this. And then the same way, when we're together in the beginning, like, certain things, like, we talk through things, and you really reflect each other.
Right.
100%, yeah. No, she's incredibly spiritual, and
he is too.
But I feel like you need that. Like, it works.
But you know what? I tell my friends this. I said, just because I will say, like, I'm spiritual, or I read all these books, or I do my yoga, whatever, he embodies it.
Yeah.
Call it what you want.
Yeah.
You don't even have to call it a thing. He just embodies what it is.
I'm a spiritual introvert. She's a spiritual extrovert.
I love that. You know, something in my life is the synchronicities. I literally walk everywhere. I see white feathers. I see angel numbers. Like, the synchronicities are always syncing, and it's just
amazing.
Just that validation, you know. Like,
yeah.
Synchronicity is everything. I saw two birds having sex on a roof.
It's a true story.
In the Bahamas on Saturday. And I'm videoing it like, wow, I never saw two birds having sex. And the bird gets off, the other one flies up and just shits on me.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. He gave me the giant finger as he flew off, right? And not only did he shit right in the back of my neck, like, so that's synchronicity, right? Like,
yeah.
That's saying, all right. And I was like, okay, synchronicity. Jules goes, honey, that's good luck. I could get.
It's like finding
I could get hit by a dump truck, and Jules was like, I read back in my spirituality that is good luck, and now for the next 9 years you'll never get hit again. But
that's good. You need that, because like you want someone to bring like the positive to everything, because you can always look at a situation and find the bad.
Do you know how much lemonade exists in our refrigerator?
Okay, wait, last thing I want to talk about before we close up is you guys are partiers. And you will go and pop champagne at them parties.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have shown more of that in Netflix.
The first scene, I said, they said, what do you celebrate? And Jules goes, me? I spend my money on skincare and vitamins. Him?
I saw her
bottles.
magnesium.
Yeah.
Him? Bottles. I said, no, racehorses. She goes, yeah, of course racehorses and bottles.
I found that so funny, by the way.
And then I said the line that everybody seems to love, and I said, racehorses lead to bottles.
I mean,
and Netflix just ran with that one. There were 2 lines on the Netflix show that Netflix ran with. Racehorses lead to bottles, and the other one I said was, we got the beautiful people, he's got the beautiful bank account. We're talking about Republic. I think I'll take the beautiful people. I mean,
yeah.
I'll take the beautiful people over the beautiful bank account. How about that?
Or both. Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, don't limit yourself.
Like she said.
Yeah.
I was almost there. I mean,
Wait,
Jill
there's a
said
book.
yes.
There's a book I want to tell your
5.3
readers
billion.
about if they're into manifestation. It's called The World is a Mirror. It's really short.
The world is a mirror.
You'll read it in one day.
Did Tanya buy it?
Yes, I made her buy it.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna read it. I think I remember her saying that.
So far, everyone who's read the book.
Okay, wow, I need to
doing
read
good.
it.
And it's one of those books for people who aren't even readers. Like
It's
like
an
it's
easy
like a
read.
pamphlet.
Okay.
You could
We
literally
love
read
that.
it in
it's
one
almost
day.
like magazine style.
Yeah, it's you can read it in one
How
day.
many
It's
nights
written so
I'm
well.
in bed and I'm reading about SpaceX, which is like represents about half our net worth, and I'm looking at this stuff and I look over and she is in a rabbit hole that is like 4,000 feet below the ground, and she's in a quantum physics rabbit hole.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Things I have never imagined. And I'm sitting here, I know she's looking at me like I'm a test tube baby on the bed next to her. Like, she goes down some really deep rabbit holes.
I love it.
But
I live
she's
in the
a
rabbit
reader,
hole.
like a real reader. And what her reading does is just leads to rabbit holes. I should have used that on the show. Reading leads to rabbit holes.
That's season 2.
Yeah.
I love
I'm going to open up.
Okay, wait, I actually have one last question.
Yeah.
For anyone who's getting into business, I know it's a bit broad because, like, everyone does different things, everyone has different passions, but, like, how do you make money doing what you love?
Oh, it depends on what you love.
Do you think you can make money with whatever you like?
Jules loves yoga, and she tried to...
I opened a yoga studio. I founded a pretty good yoga studio in New York, and it was my passion. And I'll tell you what happened. One, from the outside looking in, you would have thought that it was just killing it. Packed classes, 5-star reviews at the Yin Yang, just like it was amazing.
Yeah.
As he says, the margins weren't there, could barely keep the lights on, and then it becomes your stress. And then I stopped doing yoga during that period of my life because it was just when your passion becomes your stress. That's a whole different thing. So
that's a perfect example
of
like you love something, but it doesn't mean it's always like.
I was also a chef. I went to Le Cordon Bleu. I opened a restaurant. I was a private chef down in Miami, worked on yachts, everything. But then again, that too, the stress of it, the owning the restaurant, stop cooking.
Yeah.
So I think there's a fine line.
It needs to be a business. First of all...
He always says everything I do is niche.
It is niche. If you love something, you will not love it if it becomes a problem. So what I mean by that is, you may love yoga and you want to open up a yoga studio, and now you invest all this money in the yoga studio, and the yoga studio is losing money, and the teachers are a pain in the ass, and the students are a pain in the ass. All of a sudden, you don't love yoga anymore.
Right.
So you have to look at a business that number one is not niche. Number two, is in a way in which, from a P&L standpoint, it makes logical sense.
Right.
And sometimes in what you love, it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't love managing a technology fund. It's how I make my living. I love racehorses, but I know I can't put my food on the table with security buying racehorses.
Right.
So I make my living in a business that I would rather not make it in.
But something you really
But
excel
it's
at
something
and
I'm
is good at.
but it's not something I love. I don't live and die for it, right? Because what am I doing? I'm investing in SpaceX. I'm investing in somebody else's entrepreneurial.
Right.
And their visions, right?
Yeah.
Where I would rather it be my vision or my belief, but I understand that that's not where I'm going to make my money. So you have to find a business, one, that its application is diverse, it's worldwide, it's anything that you can sell easily to the masses. Two, you have to be able to control your margins. Three, and most important, find a business that requires the least people as you can find.
Right.
And that's why AI is going to change the world, right?
AI
Because
is
people
already
are-
changing the world.
Yeah, because people are the biggest problem because you just never know what you're bargaining for.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my yoga studio, I had 18 different styles of yoga, over 40 teachers.
Wow.
It was pretty
That's
massive.
a lot to keep the lights
And I tried
on.
to run this like an ashram. So
Oh
you can
my
only
God,
imagine. Because I wanted
yeah.
it so accessible to everybody. But you know what?
Yeah.
In today's day, like,
Yeah.
doesn't quite work like that always as we wish.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's
I think
great
podcast
advice.
is the way to go.
Yeah, honestly, I'm loving it.
And you're
It's
really,
like-
you do a really good job. I've seen some of them.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much. Well, guys, thank you so much. Let's go out. Let's have some fun.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm here for it.
Let's go. Do you guys want to just like plug your names, plug your Instagrams real quick?
Sure. Michael Iavarone. That is my favorite part of the whole show. You're supposed to say I am. I am Michael Iavarone.
Yeah, so I'm Jules Iavarone, and I'm j.iv.44 on Instagram. And I was private all the way up until this point, so
But now you're on Netflix. No point.
exactly. So I'm like, all right,
Just pull the plug.
Now
just
people
pulled the
from
plug.
high school are like, Jules?
yeah, literally.
You're on Netflix?
Literally.
It's like
But
you-
no, it's been great. I've been loving hearing from the fans. And
Yeah,
just like,
for
it's
sure.
It's
The
been so
scoundrel
positive.
box is on fire.
Yeah, we call it the scoundrel box.
Yeah.
The inbox?
The inbox, the scoundrel box. You get your layers of scoundrels. So the dark scoundrel boxes are our favorite.
Oh, they're there.
You slide in us. We've had some real fun.
But wait,
with
it's funny. I
scoundrel.
call the trolls, Jules trolls, and every night I go, honey, I have to say a prayer for Jules trolls.
And what's crazy is I don't get trolls. She gets trolls.
I don't know what it is, but women always get more attacked. It's just what it is.
A girl writes to her. She goes, I don't know if you're pregnant or you're just fat.
But then you know what I said?
What?
Yes,
Yeah.
but you know why? She projected. So that person
It
probably
is
deals
that?
with her weight, or she feels that way, and so she needs love.
For sure.
So
like to
that's
go
why
and
I pray
attack
for Jules
her.
as trolls.
For sure.
Yes.
People are always projecting
They're
their
just
insecurities.
projecting their own thing on you. You can't take that personal.
Yeah, you can't.
And just have to understand where that comes from and hope that they can pull
You
out
almost
of
have
that.
to
I
be
had to
like, I
write
feel
back.
so bad, you know?
I had to write back and tell her we're waiting for our Manjaro. It's in the mail.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening
Wait,
to
you didn't drop your Instagram.
Oh,
Oh,
my name is mine.
I am.
Michael.Iavarone is my Instagram.
Well-
Iavarone.
You can find me through him.
Love
you can find
it.
me through her.
Woo, that's a wrap.
Yay.
Guys, that was so good. So it really felt like we've known each other. It didn't feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm like pulling teeth. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
give me something. With you
Yeah.
guys, I was like, I don't even have to talk. You guys
Yeah.
can talk. I love that. It's like the
So
best.
funny.